Nobody really knew the level of pain I was in. I couldn't do the simple things like play with my kids. The deterioration of the foot got so bad that something had to be done. So after consulting with the doctor at New-York-Presbyterian, I would start thinking about all the things that I could start doing. I decided at that point I'm going to amputate my foot. My name is Gary Yerman. I'm 57 years old and I live in Old Tappan, New Jersey. I just turned 19 and I was in the Army. I was stationed right on the East German border. We played 7-on-7 tackle football. Sports has always been my life and something that I think defines me. Somebody came flying in and all you heard was snapping. Just snap, snap, snap. And I looked back and my leg was turned the wrong way. When I woke up, I asked the doctor, am I gonna be limited at all? He didn't have the courage to tell me that I wouldn't be able to move my foot. I continued in my mind to be an athlete, but I found out pretty quickly my limitations were significant. Over the years, they would slice my tendon and move one side over to the other side to lift the foot up. So I had a lot of surgeries where they would just clean out my knee. They put the screws in so the ankle would sit flat. You know, after about 15 surgeries in the 38-year period, there wasn't much left in the leg.
I've known Gary for a long time, but I met him years after he had his trauma. And Gary got to the point where his body was tired of compensating. His knee was asking for help, his low back, his whole being, having constant pain every day.
Standing up became very difficult for me. Going to the refrigerator, getting a glass of milk was not easy. I couldn't do the simple things like play with my kids.
All of a sudden, he's left with a foot that is just something that's in his way. It's an obstacle. He did what I think is really important. He was able to focus on the important goals, to get his life back, to be able to run, to be able to exercise, to be able to keep up with his family on vacation.
And so after letting him know that my mindset was so positive, they agreed that an amputation was the right option for me.
An amputation is not a loss. Amputation, when it's done electively, it's a way forwards for somebody. And then the next question becomes, how do we do that? And so the standard approach in this is to do an amputation a little bit below the knee, well above the ankle, as a way of giving the ideal foundation for the prosthesis. But if we're trying to go from good enough to awesome, which is the only thing that Gary wanted, then we want to do awesome. We want to give him awesome. One of the more common procedures is something called the Ertl procedure, which ties together the lower fibula and tibia through the amputation so that you get a bigger surface for weight bearing and more stability so the bones aren't jiggling or loose.
That technique that Dr. Greisberg used by putting the support on the bone just provides my leg with that much more support. When I got home from the surgery, everything was exactly as we had hoped. I was 5.5 pounds lighter, but felt like 500 pounds was removed. It started slowly about walking and getting around and not being in pain all the time. And then it graduated to, well, let's see how much I can really push this. Having the ankle removed is like having an anchor that's holding a speedboat back cut off. It took months and months and months, but less than a year after the surgery, I felt that there was no limitations at this point anymore. So I did 3 sprint distance triathlons, and now I'm training for the Olympic distance triathlon. Right now, the happiest I've been since I was 19 years old, pre-injury. Because of the fantastic job that Dr. Greisberg did, he's given me this opportunity to see how fast I can go. Now I could show you pictures of me jumping into the wave pool with the boogie board next to my son and just having a ball. And that's just one activity that we do together. They want me with them, and I want to be there with them. I feel like I've got my smile back. the sky's the limit.